Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try, life keeps pulling you back into the same old patterns, like invisible threads stitching you into a fabric you no longer wish to wear? There is a story told about a man who spent years walking the same forest path every morning. He believed he was free, yet his footprints always returned to the same circle of earth. One day, he looked down and realized something startling. The soil was carved with grooves so deep that his feet simply fell into them without him choosing. He wasn't walking a path. The path was walking him. Most of us are living just like that man. We rise, we struggle, we hope, we dream, yet somehow the days blend into each other, repeating silently like an echo. And while we tell ourselves that tomorrow will be different, something within us whispers the same story again and again. It feels like fate, like destiny, like a script written without our consent. But what if that script is not permanent? What if the grooves in the soil of your life can be lifted, and a new trail can emerge right beneath your feet? You see, reality is not a fixed wall. It is more like a mirror made of smoke, shifting, bending, responding not to your wishes, but to the signal you embody. Beneath your thoughts, beneath your words, lies a vibration, a code, a resonance that silently instructs your world on how to shape itself around you. And this code isn't decided by desire alone. You can want abundance, whisper love, cry for peace, but if your body trembles with fear, if your heart carries hidden scars, if your breath shortens every time you think of change, the mirror reflects back the tremor instead of the prayer. This is why people feel trapped, not because change is impossible, but because they are still carrying the old frequency inside them. And when you carry the old, you repeat the old. Yet there exists another way, a hidden doorway in plain sight, that once opened, begins to dissolve the grooves in the soil and write a new path under your very steps. But here lies the real question, the one that begins everything. If your entire reality is answering to a hidden signal within you, do you even know which signal you've been sending? There are moments in life when something strange happens, and you try to brush it off as nothing more than coincidence. Yet the feeling lingers, heavy and insistent, like a whisper you can't unhear. You wake up from the same dream 3 nights in a row, each time with the same symbols burned into your memory. Maybe it's a door you cannot open, or a figure that never speaks but always stares. You tell yourself it's random, but deep inside you wonder, why does it keep returning? Why does it feel like a message wrapped in silence? Or perhaps you glance at the clock and it reads 11:11, again, and then you notice it the next day and the day after. At first it feels curious, then unsettling, as if the universe itself is trying to tap you on the shoulder, reminding you of something you can't yet name. The numbers begin to appear on receipts, on license plates, on phone screens, and with each appearance, your heart beats a little faster, as though some invisible pattern is weaving itself around you. Then there are the physical sensations, the ones you can't explain, a sudden chill when no window is open, a warmth flooding your chest when you think of someone you've lost, goosebumps racing across your arms in a room filled with silence. Doctors may call it nerves, stress, or fatigue, but deep inside you sense it's more than biology. It's as if your body knows something before your mind can catch up, as if your skin itself is a messenger of truths that logic cannot translate. Think about the dreams you've dismissed, the hunches you've ignored, the gut feelings you've silenced because they didn't fit into the rules of reason. How many times have you said, "I knew this would happen," only after it did? How many times have you felt a pull to avoid a place, cancel a plan, or call a certain person, only to discover later that your instinct saved you from something unseen? These are not accidents. They are fragments of a language, an ancient, subtle dialogue between your inner being and the reality around you. Most people never learn this language because the world teaches us to mistrust it. We are trained to believe only in what we can measure, prove, or touch. Anything else is brushed aside as superstition, and yet, in the quiet spaces of your own life, the signs keep appearing. They wait patiently for you to notice. They repeat themselves until ignoring them becomes more painful than listening. Consider the woman who kept seeing feathers appear in impossible places, on her office desk, in her car, even inside a closed drawer. She laughed at first, but then remembered her grandmother's words, "When you see a feather where none should be, know that an angel has passed." Or the man who dreamed of a flood again and again, only to later face a real flood in his city. These are not isolated stories. They are mirrors of a truth that surrounds us all. Reality is speaking, but it speaks in symbols. And here is the ache, the unspoken pain. So many people sense this communication but feel powerless to understand it. They live caught between two worlds, the surface world of routines, jobs, bills and responsibilities, and the hidden world that whispers through signs and patterns. The tension between the two creates doubt. Am I crazy for noticing this? Am I wrong to feel there's more to life than what I can explain? This doubt becomes a cage, trapping people inside the grooves of old habits, even when their souls are yearning for freedom. But if you've ever felt that tug, that invisible pull in your chest that says, "There's something here, pay attention," you are not alone. And you are not mistaken. These signals are not meaningless flickers in the dark. They are the first cracks in the walls of your old reality, the first invitations to step into a deeper connection with the unseen fabric of existence. So the question is not whether the signs are real. The question is, are you willing to see them for what they are? There is a reason why certain signs follow you. Numbers repeating, dreams recurring, strange coincidences that refuse to let go of your attention. These are not random. They belong to an ancient language that has always existed, though few dare to listen. And the first great secret of this language is this: nothing in your reality appears without resonance. In other words, the signs you notice are not placed there to tease you. They appear because your soul has reached a frequency that makes them visible. Just as a radio can only pick up the station it is tuned to, your consciousness reveals the symbols that match its current vibration. The signs are not out there. They are mirrors, reflecting the dialogue between who you are becoming and the reality that surrounds you. Consider the repeated numbers so many encounter: 1111, 222, 333. Entire books have been written about them, and yet their essence is simple. They are reminders of alignment. In ancient traditions, numbers were never mere mathematics. They were carriers of divine codes. The Bible itself begins with the power of number. In the beginning was the Word, but before the Word came the rhythm, the pattern, the sequence. Numbers such as 3, 7, and 12 are woven throughout Scripture, marking creation, completion, and divine order. When you see repeating numbers, it is not superstition, it is resonance. The moment of seeing acts as a pause in your linear story, a subtle announcement that says, "Pay attention, you are standing at the edge of a shift." This is why so many feel goosebumps or sudden chills when these patterns appear. It is as if eternity is breaking into time for a fraction of a second, whispering, "You are not lost, you are being guided." The hidden meaning is not in the number itself, but in your awareness of it. The universe could show you endless codes, but until your soul is ready, your eyes will not see them. This is the secret that mystics and prophets have always guarded. Reality is interactive. The signs are less about the external world and more about your internal readiness. You are the key that unlocks the code. Think of Moses before the burning bush. The bush might have burned countless times, but on that day, Moses was able to see it for what it was. Holy ground, a message from beyond. The miracle was not the fire. The miracle was his perception. He turned aside to look, and in that moment of attention, the voice of God spoke. The same principle applies to the signs in your life, the number on the clock, the dream that repeats, the shiver that comes with no explanation. They are burning bushes in disguise. They do not command you, they invite you. They do not dictate your destiny, they call you to awaken to it. But why does this matter? Because most people live blind to their own signals. They dismiss their deepest whispers as coincidence, and so they miss the guidance that could redirect their lives. When you honor the first secret, that resonance is the language of the unseen, you step into a realm where every detail of your existence begins to shimmer with meaning. You realize you are not abandoned, not forgotten, not trapped in chaos. You are participating in a conversation with the divine itself. Imagine a woman who kept dreaming of rivers overflowing. She dismissed it until one day she realized her own emotions had been locked inside for years, waiting to break free. The flood in her dream was not predicting weather. It was revealing her soul's need for release. When she finally allowed herself to weep and confess what she had hidden, healing began. The dream was the language, her tears were the answer. Or a man who saw 444 so many times it became impossible to ignore. He learned that in ancient numerology, 4 symbolizes foundation. It dawned on him that his life, though busy and full of noise, lacked stability. His relationships, his work, even his health were built on shaky ground. The numbers did not curse him, they warned him, and when he listened, he began rebuilding from the inside out. The hidden secret of the first sign is this: reality is not silent. It is a book written in symbols, and you are the reader meant to decode it. Every dream, every repetition, every nudge of intuition is a verse waiting to be read. But here lies the forbidden part, the truth few ever say aloud. If you ignore the signs long enough, they fade. The universe does not waste energy speaking to ears that refuse to hear. And when the signs fade, people feel abandoned. They pray for guidance, yet the silence echoes. The truth is not that guidance disappeared. The truth is that it waits for you to remember the language again. This is why your awareness is sacred. Your ability to notice is the altar upon which the unseen becomes seen. That is the authority of the first secret. To notice is to invite. To pay attention is to allow the eternal to step into time. And so I ask you, what signs have been circling your life that you've dismissed as nothing? What numbers keep arriving? What dreams keep pressing? What feelings keep stirring? They are not coincidences. They are calls. The question is whether you will answer. Before we continue deeper into the next secret, I want to pause here and extend an invitation. If these words are resonating with you, if you've felt the stir of recognition in your chest, then this is your circle. This is your sanctuary. I invite you to like this video and subscribe, not as a casual gesture, but as a way of stepping into a community where these truths are honored. Here, you are not dismissed. Here, your signs are sacred. Now, if the first secret is that resonance reveals reality, then the next truth is even more daring, because if signs are mirrors of your inner being, then who is truly sending them? And what does that mean about the hidden forces shaping your entire path? There was once a woman named Claire. To anyone watching from the outside, her life looked ordinary. She lived in a small town, worked long hours at a quiet office, paid her bills on time, and rarely complained. But on the inside, she carried a hollow weight. Her days felt like shadows of each other, wake, work, sleep, repeat, and though she prayed for change, nothing seemed to shift. One winter evening, something unusual happened. Claire was driving home after a late shift, the streets wet with melting snow, headlights casting silver streaks across the asphalt. She was exhausted, her chest heavy with that familiar loneliness she never admitted to anyone. As she slowed at a red light, she glanced at the dashboard clock, 11:11. She sighed. She had seen it before, But this time, a strange chill ran down her arms, raising the tiny hairs on her skin. She shook her head and whispered, "Just coincidence." But when she arrived home, she unlocked her phone to check her messages. The time glowed again, 11:11, and beneath it, a message from her sister, "Thinking of you tonight." Her breath caught. Something about the timing felt orchestrated, as if an unseen hand had stitched those moments together. That night she dreamed. In her dream, she was walking through a vast forest. The trees were taller than any she had ever seen, their branches forming arches like cathedral ceilings. She wandered until she reached a clearing where a single feather rested in the snow, white against white, yet glowing faintly. When she bent to pick it up, a voice, not outside but within, whispered, "You are not alone." Claire woke with tears streaming down her face. She dismissed it as just a dream, but the next morning, as she opened her front door to leave for work, a small feather lay on her welcome mat. Her body froze. The world seemed to tilt, and her breath came shallow. How could this be? There were no birds nesting nearby, no reason for it to be there. She bent down, trembling, and held it in her palm. It felt warm. From that day forward, the feathers kept appearing. On her office chair, in the grocery store parking lot, even inside her car, though she never drove with the windows down. Each time they arrived when she was at her lowest, when bills overwhelmed her, when loneliness threatened to consume her, when she whispered prayers she wasn't sure anyone heard. The feathers appeared like answers, soft reminders that something greater was watching, guiding, protecting. One evening, Claire sat by her window with the latest feather resting on her lap. For the first time in years, she spoke out loud, not to herself, not to the empty room, but to the unseen presence she now believed was listening. "If these are your signs, then I am ready. Show me where to go. Show me who I am meant to be." The very next day, her life shifted. She was invited to attend a small gathering at a local church, something she normally would have declined. But that night, moved by the weight of the feathers, she said yes. At the gathering, she met a woman who would become her closest friend, a confidant who shared her own stories of signs, numbers, dreams, whispers. For the first time, Claire realized she was not crazy. She was awakening, and with that realization, she began to change. She left behind the fear that had kept her silent for so long. She started journaling her dreams, noticing her emotions, paying attention to the subtle nudges of her body and spirit. The feathers never stopped appearing, but now she no longer questioned them. They had become her language of faith, a dialogue between her soul and the unseen. Claire's story is not unique. Many who awaken to the signs find that their lives begin to bend in new directions, toward healing, toward love, toward courage they never thought they had. What makes her story powerful is not the feathers themselves, but the way she allowed them to rewrite her perception of reality. She went from feeling abandoned to feeling guided, from invisible to seen, from powerless to participating in a mystery that was alive, personal, and responsive. And now I turn to you. Have you experienced something like this? Have you seen numbers, dreams, or signs that refuse to let go of your attention? Have you felt a presence in the ordinary moments of your day, reminding you that you are not walking this path alone? If so, I invite you to share it. Write your story, your sign, your experience in the comments below. This community is not just about listening, it is about weaving a circle of voices. I read what you share, and in future videos, I may even mention your name and your story so that others know they are not alone either. Because your signs matter, your story matters, and sometimes speaking it aloud is the very act that allows the next sign to appear. But there is something deeper we must face, something that explains why so many of us see these signs, yet still feel chained to the old cycles. What if the signs are not only guiding us forward, but also exposing the hidden resistance inside us that refuses to let go. If the first secret teaches us that signs appear as patterns and resonance in the outer world, numbers, feathers, synchronicities, the second secret reveals something even closer, something many ignore because it feels too ordinary. Your body itself is a sacred messenger. Think about it. Long before you can form a thought, your body reacts. You walk into a room and feel a sudden heaviness, even though everyone is smiling. You meet someone for the first time, and your chest feels either tight or unexpectedly open. You make a decision, and hours later your stomach twists as if protesting. These are not random sensations. They are the body speaking in its hidden language, telling you whether your soul is in alignment or whether you are straying. Ancient traditions knew this well. In Scripture, the heart is not just an organ, but the seat of wisdom. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Mystics and prophets across cultures believed that the body carries divine intelligence, storing memories, wounds, and revelations within its very cells. Modern science now confirms what the ancients always whispered. The nervous system remembers what the conscious mind forgets. So the second great sign is this: the state of your body mirrors the state of your soul. But here is the hidden truth. Most people ignore these signals because they have been conditioned to distrust their own feelings. We push through exhaustion, silence our tears, swallow our anger, numb our anxiety. We take pills to mask symptoms, distractions to escape emotions, busyness to avoid stillness, and in doing so, we silence the very voice that was designed to guide us. Let me give you an example. A man named David spent years forcing himself to stay in a job that drained him. He told himself it was logical, that he had bills to pay, responsibilities to keep. But every morning, his chest tightened the moment he walked into the office. His breath grew shallow, his shoulders tense. He dismissed it as stress. Only later, when illness forced him to slow down, did he realize. His body had been warning him all along. The tightness was not weakness, it was guidance. Or think of the woman who constantly felt fatigue whenever she visited a certain friend. Outwardly, their conversations seemed harmless. But her body spoke the truth. The friendship was draining her spirit. The fatigue was not a mystery illness. It was a spiritual alarm, a signal that her energy was being siphoned away. This is the second secret. Your body is not betraying you. It is revealing you. Every symptom, every tension, every shiver is part of the hidden dialogue between you and the unseen world. Now, how do we begin to listen? Here is a simple practice, small but powerful. I call it the pause of 3 breaths. The next time you face a decision, an encounter, or even a simple choice, stop. Close your eyes if you can, and take 3 slow, conscious breaths. With the first breath, notice your chest. Does it expand or contract? With the second, notice your stomach. Does it soften or twist? With the third, notice your overall energy. Do you feel drawn forward or pulled back? Your body will answer before your mind does. Expansion, softness, warmth. These are signs of alignment. Tightness, heaviness, coldness. These are warnings of resistance. The practice takes less than a minute, yet it reveals the map you've been carrying all along. This is not a trick. It is a way of reuniting with the wisdom you already hold. The body does not lie. When you learn to read it, you gain access to a compass more reliable than any logic or external advice. Try it even now. Think of a decision lingering in your life, something you've been overthinking. Pause, breathe, feel. Notice the subtle shifts. Your body is speaking. The question is, will you hear it? And here is where the encouragement becomes a challenge, because once you begin to honor your body's language, life will demand courage. You will realize that certain paths you've taken are misaligned. Certain relationships drain you. Certain habits keep you trapped. The body will not only tell you what feels safe, it will expose what you must release. That is the hidden cost of awakening. You can no longer pretend you do not know. Yet what greater gift is there than living in truth? To walk not as a puppet of old patterns, but as someone guided by the living wisdom pulsing in your veins. This is why the second secret matters. It brings the mystery of signs out of the abstract and into your very skin. You cannot escape it, and you cannot deny it. So I ask you, when was the last time your body spoke and you ignored it? When did your stomach twist before a choice, or your chest ache after a conversation and you pushed forward anyway? These are the very signals that, if honored, could have changed your direction. I invite you, pause today. Take those 3 breaths. Write down what you feel. Start building trust with the voice you've been silencing. And if this resonates with you, if you feel this community is helping you rediscover what was always inside you, support this space. Like this video. Subscribe and join us in this circle of hidden wisdom. Here, your signals are honored. But know this, as powerful as the signs of the body are, they are not the deepest. There is a signal even more mysterious, a sign that few dare to speak about openly. It is not found in the numbers you see or the sensations you feel. It arises from a place almost no one thinks to look. And once you recognize it, it changes everything. There is a sign deeper than dreams, deeper than numbers, deeper even than the trembling language of the body. It is not something you see with your eyes, or hear with your ears, or even feel on your skin. It is the signal that arrives when all other signals fall silent. The ancients called it the still small voice. Mystics across centuries have spoken of it as the ultimate meeting point between the human soul and the eternal. And yet, it is the most overlooked of all. This deepest sign is the silence that surrounds you when the world stops and you suddenly sense presence. It may come in the middle of the night when you wake and feel as though the room is not empty. It may happen when you are praying and words no longer come, only tears. It may rise in the pause between your breaths when something greater than thought begins to breathe you. Unlike numbers or feathers or visions, this sign does not repeat itself loudly. It does not demand attention. It waits. It waits for you to slow down enough to notice. And when you do, the effect is undeniable. Goosebumps down your spine, a wave of peace flooding your chest, an inexplicable knowing that you are not alone. This is not just psychology. This is the eternal breaking into time. In Scripture, the prophet Elijah sought God in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire, but God was not there. Only in the silence did Elijah finally hear the voice. That silence is the deepest signal. It is the doorway where all illusions fall away, and the soul stands naked before the truth. Modern science brushes against this mystery without realizing it. Physicists speak of the vacuum, a space that appears empty, but hums with infinite potential. Mystics knew this long ago. What appears as nothing is in fact the womb of everything. When you encounter the silence that speaks, you are touching that field of creation. You are standing in the birthplace of destiny itself. And here lies the paradox. In a world addicted to noise, the greatest sign of all is found in stillness. While others look for proof in fireworks and thunder, the awakened know that the true revelation comes when the inner storm ceases and the soul hears what cannot be heard. Perhaps you have felt it before. A sudden pause in time where everything around you seemed suspended, as though heaven leaned closer, or a moment of grief where the weight was unbearable, and yet, beneath the tears, you sensed an embrace that no human arms could provide. This is the climax of the journey. The moment when you realize you are not chasing signs anymore, you are the sign. Because here is the most hidden truth of all. Every symbol, every dream, every whisper has been pointing not outward, but inward. The numbers lead back to you. The body's signals lead back to you. The silence unveils the truth you've been circling around all along, that you are not separate from the source that sends the signs. You are part of it, and in that realization, the world shifts. Suddenly, the mirror does not just reflect your vibration. It reflects your essence. You're not a beggar at the gates of heaven, waiting for messages to be thrown like crumbs. You are a child of the eternal, co-creating with the very force that moves the stars. It is in this place of recognition that transformation becomes permanent. The silence that speaks is not just a sign, it is the reminder of your original identity, the one that fear, doubt, and pain tried to make you forget. This channel exists to keep these truths alive, not for profit, not for numbers, but for passion. Every video here is crafted as an offering, as a lamp in the dark for those searching for meaning. And if this has stirred something in you, if you feel the pulse of recognition in your heart, I ask you now, support this space. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join this community. Your presence here strengthens the circle, allowing us to spread these truths further, to awaken more souls who are longing for the signs they secretly know exist. Because together, we are not just an audience, we are a communion. A gathering of those who dare to see what others dismiss, who dare to listen when silence calls. And yet, as powerful as this revelation is, there remains one final step. If the deepest sign is silence, then what does it ask of you? What mission is born from recognizing that you are both seeker and sign, student and message? The answer to that question is the doorway to your true purpose. And it is waiting, even now, just beyond the edge of everything you thought you knew. Every sign we have explored, the numbers repeating across your path, the whispers of the body, the silence that speaks, has been pointing you to one truth. You are being called to awaken. None of these signals are accidents. They are threads in a tapestry woven specifically for you, invitations to step out of the cycle of numb repetition and into a life of awareness, meaning, and divine participation. Look at your own journey. How many times have you felt the universe tug at you through dreams, synchronicities, or sensations you couldn't explain? How many times have you brushed it aside, telling yourself it was coincidence, only for the sign to return, louder, closer, impossible to ignore? The reason these signs persist is because they carry within them a mission to remind you that life is not happening to you, it is happening with you. When you understand this, even the smallest detail becomes radiant with possibility. A word overheard in passing may hold the exact answer you were seeking. A sudden pause in time may give you the clarity you begged for in prayer. The beating of your own heart becomes a rhythm of guidance, pulsing with sacred intention. This is the awakening of consciousness. To see that the extraordinary has always been hidden in the ordinary, waiting for eyes that are ready to see. But awakening is not the end. It is the beginning. When you choose to honor the signs, you step into a responsibility. You begin to live as one who carries light into a world that has forgotten how to see. You become a witness that whispers to others, "There is more than this. You are not alone. You are loved, guided, chosen." And here lies the hope. You do not need to be perfect, powerful, or extraordinary to live this mission. You only need to be willing to pause, willing to listen, willing to act as if your life itself is a sacred conversation, because it is. Every person who has reached this point in the journey is now standing at a threshold. On one side is the life of routine, where signs are ignored and destiny is muted. On the other side is the path of awakening, where every breath carries meaning, every encounter reveals a message, and every silence becomes a meeting with the eternal. The choice is yours. And though this choice is deeply personal, it is not solitary. You are part of something larger, a community of seekers, believers, and awakened souls who are learning to read the hidden language of life together. This channel exists as a sanctuary for that journey. It is a place where your experiences are not dismissed but honored, where your questions are not silenced but explored, where your voice matters. That is why I want to extend a personal invitation. If you have felt the stir of recognition in your heart, if these words have echoed something you already knew deep down, then make a small but powerful gesture. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and join this community. Not because we chase numbers, but because together we keep this flame alive. This space is not built on profit, it is built on passion, on the conviction that these truths matter and that they can change lives when shared. Every subscription, every like, every word you share strengthens this circle and allows it to reach others who are searching in the dark. And I want to ask something more personal of you. In the comments, write your name and your city. Let this community know where you are watching from, so that in the next video I can offer you a special greeting, a moment of recognition. Imagine the beauty of seeing your name spoken aloud, your presence acknowledged, as part of this growing circle of light. It is not just interaction, it is communion, a way of saying we are in this together. Because your story, your signs, your presence are not small. They are threads in the same divine pattern that is unfolding across the world. And by naming yourself, by placing your name and city in the comments, you are saying yes to being part of something greater. So I leave you with this thought. The signs are not finished. They have only just begun. The same force that brought you here to this exact moment will continue to guide you. And what awaits beyond this awakening is even more profound, more mysterious, more beautiful than you can imagine. The journey does not end, it deepens. And the greatest revelation is always the one that has yet to arrive. The signs you've seen are only the beginning. What comes next will change everything.